Hey everyone, and welcome to the Modcast.
Speaking of modcasts, who are we?
I'm Wudge.
I'm Phil.
I'm Slime. Oh, sorry, I forgot my canonical name. I'm Sl now. Sl.
And I'm Indy. Kronk cannot make it tonight. His mic is broken. He's typing in the chat. We will be relaying what he says.
I want to give a shout out to Uni for two reasons. One, because of the thumbnail art that he did for the episode, and the other is for the amazing parody animation that he did for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where it was the Mighty Morphin Mod Squad.
We've come a long way from a year ago that we have a fan parody animation.
Definitely, you should go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. The next episode is going to be our fourth QANDA. It's a Q&A episode, so you guys can ask us a question in the comment section below, or on Bird Chatter, which is Twitter. You can use the hashtag Modcastaversary. We usually have a limit to the questions, but we're celebrating, so I'm like, ask all the questions that you want to ask. We'll probably not answer all of them, but yeah, unlimited questions. All questions must abide by the board's rules. Don't ask us questions along the lines of who our favorite board's members are, or like the way we feel to specific people, because we won't answer them. Yeah, it has been 1 year since we released the first Modcast.
That is crazy to me.
I'm honestly surprised that we're still doing this.
I thought that we started the Modcast after the whole Civil War debacle, but I didn't realize that was before, actually.
I was looking through the Skype chat that we had, you know.
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Essentially, that was one of the points that we were like, alright, we're gonna release the episode after the Civil War because we don't want to appear buddy-buddy with each other.
That's right, yeah.
So that was actually a factor in it.
And then we were going to talk about the April Fool's thing in the first episode, but then we're like, no, we should like establish ourselves first.
Yeah, as well.
And then we talked about it in the second episode.
This is actually like the 50-second video. So it's like in terms of a weekly upload schedule, it's like exactly.
Yeah, wow, that's
even
crazy.
Though we technically took some breaks.
How did that work out?
Since the Modcast started in April, but the Mod channel actually started in like February, like the end of February.
I gotta say, props to Wodge for editing through so much of our crud, you know? So much just like, so much unprofessionalism, and it's crazy to me that we have a consistent schedule like that, so I just want to say thanks, Wodge, for a good year of editing, because it's been great.
Well, thanks, man. I want to thank all you guys for being here, because if it weren't for you guys, it's like, this wouldn't happen, you know? We wouldn't get together and
Except for John and LM, they're dead to us now.
John and LM, well, yeah, that's true.
They don't get thanks.
I'd probably not be the only one to agree that, like, before the Modcast, I probably considered you guys more kind of co-workers in this sense, but I think like as this year went on, we got to kind of do this. We're probably more of a group of friends because of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Before, I did feel like you guys were co-workers, and I think it was probably because we actually did not have a chat with just us.
No, exactly, yes.
And so like, we had the Mod Squad chat with all of TTV, and we would not really have calls in there, or really interact outside of moderating the boards. So after I made the Modcast chat, then we started having calls and just talking to each other about stuff.
I'll take that back partially. I'll say that Slime, me and you probably did know each other a bit more just because of CHC and stuff. You were a friend in my eyes before that, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm afraid the same cannot be said for you, either then or now.
Ooh. Phil/Kronk just said Cliff Horse Crew, more like dead.
Dude, do we ever get into like the main reason why we created Modcast? Like the main premise behind it?
So the sort of reason as to why we created the Modcast, it was because we wanted to do this sort of thing, but also because of our like mutual frustration with never sort of being asked to guest star on the TTV podcast.
That's true, yeah.
So I think we were just like talking about, oh yeah, Slime, you should be on the podcast, or Chronicler, you know?
Yeah. The name of the admin chat for like a solid 2 months was the official Get Slime on a Podcast.
That's right, I remember that.
It's just funny to think like that's sort of one of the main reasons, but if that was the only reason, then I'd say that it would probably dissipate quite easily. It was also out of like a legitimate just wanting to be a part of another collaborative endeavor, because we had been part of other ones in the past. The
Right.
main one being the Cliff Force crew, the CHC.
Was it 3 of us were involved in the CHC?
4.
4?
4, technically.
John really wasn't on anything.
He joined post-mortem. And Lego Master was technically in a video.
Yeah, I guess for people that don't know what the Cliff Force crew was.
Very heavy emphasis on was.
Yeah, it was a collaborative endeavor between a lot of the board's members, including, well, I guess 4 of us.
Yeah,
it was mainly you and Indy. I joined in when it was dying. They had a podcast and they had like mock reviews, and I tried to take a lot of the things that I had learned from the failings of the CHC. For instance, like having all of the content be in some way collaborative.
If your channel as a group is mostly just like a dumping ground for various people to make multiple videos of their own, it leads to some disunity, I think.
I think it's good in a sense to have a bit of individuality, because, Wajah, we were talking about this earlier this week, that I was considering a video idea. And, like, something like that is more individual, I guess, but, like, also there's the collaborativeness of, like, someone editing it and someone doing art and stuff like that. But, like, I think that stuff is also important.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be, like, at least 2 people working on some aspects of it. What happens with a lot of the collaborative, quote-unquote, channels that I've seen is that they'll put out videos that are self-promoting for one person in that group. There's not really that element of collaboration. I just found that to be a really important aspect to just have, because otherwise, what's the point?
Right,
you just put that video on your own channel. It doesn't need to be on this collaborative channel. That was like a big thing that I had thought about, because it seemed like as soon as the 2 people that were making content for the CHC had left, it was pretty much just like nothing.
I think the main issue was that we were spreading ourselves too thin. We weren't focusing on like one thing that we should do.
Right.
Like for the entirety of this channel's run, the Modcast has been the constant. There's been other things we've done. We've done Let's Plays, we've done one-off videos, but for the most part, it's been the Modcast. The fact that we didn't have that central thing for the CHC, it just led to us grinding to a halt.
We're not a solely Bionicle channel.
The thing I like about the way we approach the podcast is that all of our episodes are themed. It's nice to kind of have a diversity and have every episode be a new thing for someone that might be interested in something else.
Yeah, and if it were only solely a Bionicle podcast, then
there's only so much we can talk about.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff that we could talk about, but it would probably get stale. And like TTV is already doing that, or had done that already.
It's also really nice that like when it comes down to it, we have a really flexible viewpoint on guests as well. Like I know when we have an episode and we say we're gonna do Nintendo, I think to myself, oh wow, I have a lot of good intellectual discussions with MT about Nintendo. Let's bring him on, because that's gonna be fun to kind of have that contrasting viewpoint. Definitely contrasting. We do an episode and we might think, oh, we have this friend that's really into this. Let's bring him on. They have some good stuff to say. I think that's a really nice thing to have in the podcast.
We do come up with decisions collaboratively as well. It's not just like me dictating stuff.
Yeah.
Right. There isn't really like Waj is like the de facto leader of the channel. I think we all agree that. But that's mainly because Waj does like all the editing and stuff. So
wait, I thought it was Sahaki. I thought he was the leader.
Oh, that's
no, that's right.
Sorry, I forgot.
I know, sorry.
Yeah, Zahaki is.
He is the puppet master behind the scenes. You always forget it. Chronicler said, "I don't even know who Zahaki is."
For the first few episodes, we were like, no guests. And it's because like it was first trying to getting comfortable talking with each other, and then later on bringing people in.
It's definitely the sort of thing where you need to find your own voice before you start bringing in other voices.
The people we bring on are usually someone like Ted or like Renaki, where like we've met with them personally. You know, it's just kind of like they're good friends sometimes.
TTV as well, like Meso, LJ, and Purple. Even though like yes, they are part of TTV, we're like, are they even interested in the topic? For instance, with Meso, I just asked him, and he was like kind of ecstatic for that episode because he never really gets the chance to talk about HF.
Yeah, even though Meso's opinions on Hero Factory are wrong, it's nice to have him on because he has a lot of insight into that.
The thing about the thumbnail art is that a lot of it was done prior to even making the Modcast, which was like astounding. People drawing our avatar characters, it never gets old.
It's the most flattering thing ever to get like a message and be like, this person put effort into drawing like you. You know, it's just like, wow. Thanks.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I want to thank all of those people that had made thumbnail art. If I have not given, like, a verbal shout out to you, which I forget, and I do feel bad about that, I do, at some point, want to have a few people on as guests for an upcoming episode that we do.
It's just crazy, I think, like, personally, in that time from the beginning of the Modcast and now, like, you know, we did all kind of start out as kind of more or less coworkers, and in that time, you know, I got to know you guys more. I mean, I met up with Slime in person, we had a good time for a weekend, that was great. We've been talking about doing that more this summer. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy that over a short amount of time like that, how much can change.
Oh, wait, what was Krunk saying?
Krunk said he's never met up with us. I know. The funny thing is, though, that Slime and I are within, like, what, an hour of each other, Slime? Something like that?
When you're here, yeah.
Yeah, when I'm here. But while I'm at college, I'm actually an hour from John as well, which I've been debating visiting him at some point.
Yeah, actually, like, in terms of wanting to visit one of you guys, LM is actually going to be in Toronto for the BrickFest convention this year, and I'm hoping to go to that as well and meet him.
Slime and I talked about maybe going to the New England one again. I don't know if you're busy, Slime, but we also talked about the Virginia one this summer.
I know at least I'm going to Virginia.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty crazy last year making videos and putting out the podcast. Or Modcast, rather.
I think one of the things that I think is really important and that I value a lot in our podcast, I guess, is that we have a lot of connectivity to the community. For example, I got to know a lot of people that I assume watch our podcast, but are also on the boards through things like the server we put up. It was really, really great to get to know these guys.
That was pretty cool. Like,
it was.
In particular, the Discord server that was up, but now currently is not, like, we did kill it. There was like 29 people that weren't us, you know, so it's like in total there were like 35, and I was really surprised by just how many people wanted to either
hang out
just
with
talk
us,
to us
like,
or like hang out in the Minecraft server. I have been having a thought to create another Discord server, like a general
I have as well, yeah.
Modularity server, because yeah, that would be pretty cool to talk to everyone again, but you know, definitely with more channels and more avenues on different discussion topics, I guess. No topic episodes, I think I've stated this, are probably my favorite episodes to do. 36 was the last one, game-breaking sneeze, and that was a lot of fun. The premise of the Modcast has remained kind of the same, like as a TTV Talks ripoff, you know, having different topics every episode, but the no topic episode format is a lot more like a traditional podcast, which I do like.
After a year, it's starting to get to the point where we're starting to exhaust the amount of stuff that we can possibly talk
certain
about.
Topics, yeah.
Yeah, topics are kind of constraining as well, and plus it's hard to get multiple people on to talk about stuff.
Right, like
recently.
There's been weeks where I'm free, but we'll have an episode and I'm like, I have no idea what that means, so I'm not going to be on.
Yeah, having more no topic episodes would be pretty cool. But aside from the Modcast, we do have plans for other videos, which I won't say what they are, because that's another thing that I had learned, is that if you continually talk about this great idea that you have, you know, you make like a trailer for it, or you make like a poster for it.
And then people start praising it as like the best thing ever, and then they say, oh, I can't wait for this to come out, and then you take all the satisfaction from making that 2-bit thing, and then you never get motivated to make it.
This summer, the TTV Modcast is bringing back Biocraft. Breaking news.
One of the key things is just part of what I think is that I don't really follow the news all that much in terms of really anything, even Lego news. I'm not really that interested in it. And that's just sort of become a thing where there's no news-ish segment of our podcast, which a lot of podcasts do have. And I'm like, I think it works for us because it keeps the subjects and topics that we have kind of timeless in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
And I really like that. Some of the times we do talk about what's currently happening, and we don't sometimes fill out the context of things, but for the most part, I just really like talking about various things, shows, and of course Bionicle.
It's nice because when you have a setup like that, you start to learn about what you all have in common. Obviously, we all have several nerdy things in common.
What you don't.
Yeah, what you don't have in common.
Like liking Star Trek. I can't blame John too much. He watched Voltron when he desperately did not want to.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm telling you, we need to have a Space Jam episode. Why hasn't that happened yet?
Space Jam.
Come on.
Oh, Space Jam.
Fun fact. Right now, I'm looking at a poster in my dorm for Space Jam on my door, but I have actually never seen Space Jam, but I have a poster of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding you.
I'd seen Space Jam.
That is dedication.
We came a long way from our first episode. I'm excited to see if that's going to continue in the next year. I think, first of all, as full on a podcast, we've all grown leaps and miles in terms of professionality. Maybe not by a lot.
Professionality. We open every single episode with like this non-segue.
Yeah, no. All of it comes together. I think we have a lot of potential right now. Got a good heart behind our channel. I'm excited to see where that's going to go. I love you all. Mwah.
Yeah, you guys are great. And yeah, that has been the Modcastaversary.
Happy year, my friends.
It's been a fun year.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. I love you all.
Thanks for continuing to comment and sticking with us for this past year.